It's 1 minute. So, okay. Somebody from Turkey is knocking on the door. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you very much for choosing this invitation. And as some of you who are acquainted with YAPT's objectives and ideals know how important it is for us to emphasize the business side of our profession. Yes, we are language experts. Yes, we adore books and languages, but we are businessmen and businesswomen. So in a way, Luna is going to be approaching that so key topic. Luna, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so very much for accepting this invitation to present today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aurora. Thank you, everyone from the YAPT for welcoming me today, and welcome you all. I hope that this session will be interesting to you, but also, especially, I hope that you will find a lot of value. As you said, Aurora, we are not only just linguists, but also business people. We have to, take a look at our finances, and we have to be brave because sometimes, well, it's not so easy for us linguists. We don't always have this mathematical or calculation mindset. So that's why I've given a few talks now on this topic. It's something that's very dear to my heart. And without further ado, let me just share my slides and then we can get started. Can you see everything well? Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So yes, welcome to the newcomers. My name is Luna, and it's an honor for me to tell you a little bit more today about a money system that I actually created for myself. Because when we are freelancers, sometimes we believe that yeah, like life and work will just come to us, and then we will be, earning good wages, all of our career, and everything will be very linear. But the reality of things is that it's usually not the case. So I'm going to talk today about a topic that is usually quite taboo. We're going to talk about money. And I believe that people don't talk about money enough. In our profession, I feel like we don't share rates information enough. And one reason why I feel like it's something that we need to talk more about, it's because um, basically I feel like as a profession, we are also responsible for protecting the other people in our profession. The more we raise our rates, like for example, if you raise your rate for a good project, then it also means that maybe for a similar project, I'll also be able to raise my rates. So there is, for me, our community is a community of people who can help each other. We are not here to be competitors. Actually, the translation market is growing, despite AI, despite technology, everything that is coming to us and that is scaring some people, especially the newcomers in the industry. The market is growing and it's thought to be to grow even more in the next few years. So you can definitely have a part of that cake. You deserve to have a part of that cake. And I do believe that by helping each other out and raising the profession, raising the way we feel about ourselves, and positioning ourselves as thought leaders and as a premium service, this is when we get to make a really good living with the profession that we chose and that we love to do. So this is the point of this talk today. So yes, we will talk about money, which can be, for some people, a very either abstract topic or something we don't really want to talk about. Oh, I'm hearing a small echo. I think someone should mute themselves. Hello, hello. Can you also hear this echo? Someone. I can't hear you, Aurora. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute Cindy. For some, that's should be okay now.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. So yes, I believe that it is in our best interest to help each other out and talk about a topic that might be difficult, but for the people who have seen me talk before, you know that I don't have taboos. I don't like taboos, and I am here to break them. And so I talk openly about rates. Sometimes in my business now, I'm in a position where I'm managing larger projects and I can outsource, and it's always my pleasure to pay my translators well. And I just believe that we deserve to be paid better. So hopefully you agree. And so yeah, let's get started. If I can switch, here we go. So just a little outlook. Today we have a presentation that is quite full of information. So I'll ask you to keep any questions that you might have for the end of the session. We will have about 20 minutes for Q&A. And also you're always welcome to reach out to me personally on LinkedIn or Facebook, and it'll be my pleasure to talk about this topic a little bit more. So as I was saying, like it is a taboo topic sometimes, money, and a lot of people don't have a good association with the word money because of things that it might imply. Sometimes we have just, I don't know, we feel a bit bizarre talking about money. But for the people who are feeling a bit that way, I invite you to think, instead of hearing the word money, I invite you to hear the word freedom. Why? Because I believe that if we put in place a strong money system, it's not just to have money, actually, it's to have security. It's to be able to look after a loved one if they get sick, for example. It's to be able to look after your family if you get sick. It's about, having the rest that you need so that you can still provide the best value to your clients and the best service to your clients. So to me, money is not the end goal here. The end goal is your freedom, what you deserve to earn, and the just like all the positive sides that you actually deserve, as you are working as a translator or as an interpreter or as a linguist, which is, supposedly something that you love doing. And I believe that we deserve to earn better, to earn good rates if we do something that we are really passionate about. So it really applies to everyone, by the way. The system I will tell you about today is definitely for people who earn, it doesn't matter how much you earn. This is a topic that can be applied to really anybody. So even if you don't earn a lot, or if you are earning sometimes a lot and sometimes very low, this system actually takes that into consideration, because we're going to be working with percentages. And I will give you the nitty-gritty a little bit later. So yeah, quickly, I'll talk about why it is important that you reclaim your power over your finances, because it might be something that is scary to look at, but we'll see and dive a little bit deeper on how you can explore your own relationship to money, and why maybe you are feeling a bit uneasy when you talk about this topic, or why aren't you able to negotiate higher rates. So we'll talk about that. Then I'll give you the nitty-gritty approach about the bulletproof money system. As the I call it that because it saved me myself so many times from I don't know, some maybe risky things that I did with my own money and didn't really respect my money enough. In any case, this has really helped me. So this is what I will talk to you about today. So let's get to it. First of all, my name is Luna Jungblut. For those who don't know me, I'm an English to French translator, and I also do conference interpreting bidirectionally, and I also do some subtitling. Most of the time, I work with museum clients, and this is when I take on larger projects, and I do some project management for larger clients. So this is what I'm known for, let's say. But also, sometimes I meet wonderful people like Lorena and Aurora at the Yapti in Bursa, and then I end up, giving some little money talks or pep talks that I like to call them, because for me it's just really about motivating each other and raising the profession, as I said before. So this talk, as I said, is aimed to break taboos, money taboos, and to inspire you to get more secure, more confident about your money situation, hopefully give you the confidence to ask for better payment rates and to improve your negotiation skills, help you remove that emotional load associated with money that we have sometimes, help you build this money resiliency through systems that have been proved and that are actually working, that are tested. So it is a system that I adapted to my needs, but it actually comes from a book that I will tell you about. And hopefully the end goal is that, I want this to be able to get closer to your dreams, your dream life, and whatever success means to you. So first of all, I want to bring your attention to what's going on in our minds. So these are, scientific psychological facts. Unfortunately, we have 12,000, between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. This is a lot of thoughts. And unfortunately, I don't know why, and I didn't make, the brain, but 90% of those are exactly the same as the day before. And 80% of our thoughts are negative. So you see how our brain sometimes we are made to think about the negative so we can fix things. We are not made to think about negative things to just wallow in it and keep going in a cycle that might be negative. Our negative thinking, if we are thinking negative things, it has a value, it has a purpose. It's to help us grow out of it. And sometimes we have bad associations with the word money and just about also our own self as translators. Sometimes, as it is a profession that is not necessarily regulated in many countries, we and other people also perceive that we don't have so much value. We are seen as a cheap commodity. Nowadays, with the rise of AI and everything else, it feels as though our work doesn't have so much value and it's something that you can pay for cheap. And it's something that really echoes inside us as well. However, I want you to remember that the value that you have is actually like the value of your service will actually be higher if the perceived value is higher. What I'm saying is, if your client sees the translations that you make as high value, then they will pay a higher rates. This is how it works. It's not actually about the actual value of something, it's about the perceived value. And we can actually work on that. For example, reaching clients who are ready to pay our rates, who are ready to pay higher rates. And the market nowadays will probably thin out a little bit and remove some translations that might be some of, I don't know, translations like technical translations that are extremely specific and where AI is actually sometimes quite good. So I feel like nowadays there will be a higher market for premium translations and clients who are ready to pay because they really cannot afford a mistake. And these are the markets that we need to aim for now. In order to aim for those markets, those direct clients, we need to value ourselves better. And sometimes we tend to have some limiting beliefs or some mental blocks. And I don't know if if you recognize yourselves in any of those statements, but I hear it quite a lot in the translation profession. For example, nobody would pay, 30 cents a word. Nobody would pay, like, I know some people who charge 1 euro per word, for some projects. I'm just trying here to stretch your perception of what the market has told you so far. What you believe is true from the market can be stretched, can be improved. There is room for everyone, and you are definitely you can definitely are, and you are legitimate, sorry, to get a piece of that cake. I want you all to get a piece of that cake and get good money for your work. So when you think that way, sometimes it can create bad associations in your brain, and then you start believing that it is the truth. Oh, money is evil. Only bad people make money. And I am 100%, I 100% agree with you that there are a lot of bad people with money who do bad things. for sure, especially today, nowadays. But what I'm saying is that there's also a lot of good that we can do with money. For example, yes, you can help your peers, you can help people around you, you can have a good life, you can be happier. It can definitely help you uh, to to be more satisfied. So it's not so bad. So if you recognize yourselves in any of those statements, it is also our responsibility to change those thought patterns. In order to change them, we need to recognize them. So if you feel like, any of those beliefs are things that are recurring in your mind, it is a good idea perhaps to journal a little bit around it, see where it comes from. Sometimes it comes from our upbringing, sometimes from our family, generational sort of beliefs. Sometimes it's just our environment. And you need to start identifying what rings true for you and to be like, okay, why am I really thinking that? And is it true? If you think money is bad, okay, then write it down and be like, why do I think so? Why do I think it's bad? Is it inherently bad, or is it because a lot of bad people who have money do bad things, Because it's not the same. You need to remember that money also is a key to your freedom nowadays because we live in a capitalist society and unfortunately, these are the rules. So I want to bring your attention to the fact that ultimately, it will be your responsibility to get educated because the knowledge is out there to get financially literate. And I understand that it might feel a little bit intimidating, especially, sometimes we say, oh, my accountant does all these figures and money things, and I don't want to look at it. You're going to have to look at it, unfortunately. And it will require your time, it will require your discipline, but it's not difficult. It might require your commitment, but it's not difficult. I'm not a math person, I swear, and what I will present to you later on in this talk can be done by anybody at all. So you don't need to be an expert to do those things. However, you need to start looking at some books, how to run a mini agency, how to run a freelance business, some basics of accounting, basically just what comes in, what comes out, have a way to have everything laid out so that you can see clearly what is going in, what is going out, and how you can manage this better. So I'll give you some tools and some recommendations at the end of the presentation, so you can check that later. Before we go to the very technical nitty-gritty, I do want to bring your attention as well to some modalities that have helped me personally to fix my relationship with money. I come from a background where money was definitely evil, and the fact that I didn't want to, stay at minimum wage was seen very weirdly by my peers and my family. Um, but yes, I decided that actually I didn't want to struggle. And I was reaching for more. And so I started getting educated, as I said, and I also did a lot of journaling, as I mentioned earlier, about any mental blocks or any thoughts that I've had in my mind. And yes, I, assessed it. Is it really true? Is money inherently bad? And I try to look a little bit deeper. Also a good way to, okay, like if you don't really want to think about earning more money, you can think about what would your perfect life look like. So this is a tool called visualization, and you can use it, for example, if you're a visual person, you don't really like writing, you can, for example, on a Sunday night before you start your week, really like sit down in a calm moment, close your eyes, and try to imagine your perfect life, your ideal life, or maybe, what your life would look like in 5 years, or what would make you the happiest. And once you start to think that way, you can be like, okay, what does it look like? What does it feel like? The more you engage your senses, the more your brain will be like, oh, okay, cool, this is where we're going, let's go. So you need to imagine even like, what music am I listening to? who is with me, around me, what am I eating? What am I smelling? What are the animals around me, or what do you see, basically? And this can give you some tools on how to navigate the next steps of your life if you have to take some decisions. Let's say if you need to maybe, yeah, reassess some life situations, then this can be a good, yeah, just a good way to imagine what your real life and your perfect life would look like. I also practice mindfulness meditation, which is also a way to slow down these negative thought patterns, as I mentioned before. Something to just slow down your brain, and just try to put more space into your thoughts and think more positively, basically, about what you are worth and what you deserve to to earn, and how you deserve to be treated also. So before we dive in, I have one little recommendation as well to anybody here who is starting out. Um, our market is changing, and I want you to be prepared. So I would really recommend diversifying. Diversifying, what do I mean by that? I mean diversifying your services, your offers, trying to make sure that basically all your bases are covered so that you can continue doing the job that you love. So that means, if you're a translator and you just do general topics, chances are that it's not going to cut it. You're going to maybe have to specialize in a niche. Maybe you specialize in two very distinct niches and you attract two different types of clients, at least two. Or maybe you start offering desktop publishing or SEO optimization, or you will branch out to do interpreting, or maybe you will do subtitling. Our profession is great in this way. That's actually, there are many different services for which we can answer a need in the market. So I would recommend, it would be a good idea to look at the trends in today's markets in translation and see if there's anything that would be of interest to you. And I think that it's important that you get trained and that you get proficient in other things than just, let's say, a basic translation. I really recommend you to specialize as soon as you can, because this is when you get started to be seen as an expert by the people who look at what you do, your clients. And, they say that, like, if you can serve everybody, you can serve no one. So I really recommend, even if it feels that you might be closing yourself doors, you're actually not. People will see you as someone who has worked really hard to get to a spot where they're like, my offer is, I'm the best translator to do this language for this particular topic and on this particular format. And people, if you give them this like really irresistible offer, they will buy from you. So start to think about your offer, your unique selling points, and I do think that this is a really good advice. Personally, as I was doing translation and interpreting, it's really good because usually when the translation offers or projects are running low, then I can really rely on my interpreting career, and the other way around is true. And I was lucky enough that to have those different services to support my business, and I think this is why also it's working well. So that's why I wanted to share that as well with you. So now we're going to have to look at our money. So are you a little bit scared maybe of looking at what comes in, what comes out, and yeah, maybe you're sort of like letting your accountant do all the work, or even worse, you're not even looking at it and you don't have an accountant and you're just not looking at it. I know that I was like that at first. Because of course, it's a little bit of work. You have to have an Excel spreadsheet, and then you have to account for every money that comes out. But I can tell you that I started to create a system for myself because I was earning very, very little at the beginning of my career. My first years in the profession were really rocky. When I say really rocky, is that I was really not earning enough to survive. Let me get this straight. So I'm not coming to you today with, like, oh, I'm an English to French translator and everything was, beautiful from the start and ideal from the start. Not at all. The reason why I'm here talking to you about the system is because I had to learn it the hard way. Um, because yes, okay, like I wanted to make I couldn't afford for any money to escape because I didn't have enough. So I had to take a very honest look at, everything I was spending. Did I really need to spend this or not? So again, this is your responsibility to take a look because, no one else would do that for you. And your accountant, if you have one, their job is to make sure that you're not breaking the law and that you are paying your taxes, but your accountant doesn't know what you aim to do in your life. If your goal is to buy a house, if your goal is to start planning for retirement, if your goal is to take care of your health, for a certain procedure that you want done, you're going to have different strategies and you're going to be managing your money in a different way according to your goal and your strategy. And your accountants, yes, they can manage your money, but they cannot be in your head and they definitely don't have the same dreams as you. So if you do want to do something with your money and get more from it, you need to start thinking about what you want to do with it and what makes you happy, basically. So now that yes, now we are getting into the, let's say, the thick of it. I'm going to talk to you today about the approach from Profit First. It's a book by Mike Michalowicz. I don't know if any of you have read it before, or if you know it, but basically I adapted his system to a freelance business. So basically, what Mike Michalowicz is doing is that it's basically basic psychology. I don't know if I mean, I'm just using this example, but some people sometimes, if they have to go through a diet, they tell them, instead of giving yourself a big plate of food, try to reduce the size of the plate itself, because what they say is like, okay, if you have a big plate, then chances are you will fill it to the brim and then you will finish your plate. Whereas if you have a smaller plate, you will most likely put less food on it, and once you're finished, you're not necessarily going to get a second one. So the money system I will teach about today is actually according to this very basic psychology principle. We're going to be creating little plates with basically where you're going to be distributing your money, and then it will feel like you only have that much to spend in that particular category, but I'll get to it. So the other main points about the book Profit First is to take your profits first. What this means is that you get to be a freelancer and to be a profitable business from day one, because you're going to take a percentage of what your clients have paid you, and then you're going to be putting it on a separate account, and then this will be your profit. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You actually take your profit first. Also, for the people who are new to the profession, definitely create two accounts, bank accounts. You have your personal account, and then you have another one for your business. This is really important. It doesn't have to be called a business account. It can just be a separate account, but make sure that you have two so that you can actually transfer yourself. Your clients, sorry, will transfer to one account, and then you can transfer yourself a salary from that account to your personal accounts. So as I said, we're going to be creating, let's say, smaller plates or pockets or envelopes. Some banks call it vaults. And we're going to be distributing our money between spending categories. So we will do some monthly income allocations, as we call them, into these envelopes according to your your personal needs. So it has to be a strategy that you will adapt for your own goals and your own business. And this is why I think this technique is quite good, because it can really be, it can move and evolve as you evolve. So let's talk a little bit about the actual figures. So this is the system that I use. And this is an example here would be, we're going to work with percentages, as I said. So as an example, let's say, so you're going to be counting from, let's say now we're in March. So, okay, let's say from the beginning of February, so 1st of February until the 28th of February 2025, you will look at how much money your clients paid you. You're going to take this total, and then you're going to divide it by percentages, for example. So here, in the example we'll be using today, we will use 2,000 euros. 2,000 euros is, I would say, in Western Europe, not necessarily enough, or at least in France, where I come from, it's not really enough to have a good living. But I'm just, using this figure as an example. So you then will allocate the sum as follows. Again, this is inspired by the book Profit First, and I really encourage you to read it if you want a bit more about this technique. But this is my own interpretation of the book, according to my own business, basically. You will also, adapt it to your needs whenever you see fit. So first of all, you will take your profit first, just like the book stipulates. So you take 5% of this 2,000, which is 100 euros, and you're going to be putting that in another account. The practicality of having smaller pockets, it's really up to you how you manage that. Personally, I use Revolut Bank. This is not sponsored, by the way. It's just there are different ones. There's also Monzo. There's some online banks. There are Starling for the UK, for example. And these banks allow you to have, like, in your main account, separate little boxes where you can rename, for example, holiday, or that you can rename health or anything like that. So the practicality of it is that you will have your main account, and then you will withdraw, take, for example, 100 euros and put it in your little box that is called Profit First. You will reserve 60% of the 2,000 euros that you earned last month as your owner's compensation, or owner's comp. Then you get to, speak about those very, very cool financial terms, even if you don't know anything about finance like me. So you will take your owner's compensation, which is your salary, basically. So you get to pay yourself a salary every month, which is kind of cool. So you'll take 60% of 2,000 is 1,200, and then 20% you will leave on your business accounts. This is going to be your operational expenses, or OPEX, and you can use that, to, for example, book the next YAPT conference, or buy a new computer, or buy the new software, or whatever you need for your business. Your business, in order to grow, will have to have its own sort of money so that you can keep investing. So you're reinvesting the money that your clients give you into your business. And this is how you grow little by little. And then you will also save up the money that you need for the taxes right away. So you're not going to be waiting for a year until the taxman comes and be like, okay, like you need to give me now 50% of what you earned in the last year, and then you're going to be panicking, like, where is the money? I don't have it anymore. I spent it all. With this technique, you're going to be saving your tax money every month. So, for example, whatever your tax regime is, I'm aware at the moment my business is still set up in the UK. So it works out for me for 15%. But I know, some of you might be paying 20, 22, 25, things like that. Then you're going to be taking that from the source and putting it in a separate account called tax. And this is basically not going to be your money anymore. It's not your money anymore. It's it's the government's money, unfortunately. And this way you have saved it already, and you don't need to think about it when the tax bill comes. So this is the step one. Now, the step two is that I go further than that. Now, with the salary, or the owner's comp, that I gave myself, which is 1,200, I will then split again into different categories according to your needs and that are relevant to my lifestyle. So the percentages and the things that you will see on the next screen might not have to apply to you. This is just my version of the system. I'll let you take a quick look. So you see, I have some different categories. I have two different types of categories, the savings and then the everyday spending. So in the savings, as we mentioned already, the profit first has been taken already from the 2000 original salary income that I had. And then the taxes also are already allocated. But then I also want to have other savings, right? I want to have, for example, a buffer account or an emergency fund. Some people say that you should have an emergency fund of about between 3 and 6 months of spending saved up on an account anytime. This way, this is just if you have any emergencies, your business and yourself will not go under and you will be fine. So again, the recommendation is to save up 3 to 6 months of your expenses on a separate account. So you're going to have that on the side. You might also want some short-term savings. For example, if you are saving up for a new TV, maybe a new car, something for your household that is a bit consequent, then you might have a category for that. And this is where I save a little bit of money for that. And then you might also have a category for your future, for maybe your retirement. In the UK, we don't actually contribute to any. I mean, it would be like a private retirement fund that we need to give money to, and so we need to do that ourselves. And maybe if you want to start investing in your future, maybe you want to start investing in shares and stocks, anything like that, then you also need to put some money aside for that. So these are the categories for savings. These would be better if they are located on a bank account that has an interest. I know nowadays in Europe, particularly in Europe, the rates are a bit low, but it would always be better for these particular categories to be where you can actually beat inflation a little bit. So maybe something between, I mean, minimum 2%, I would recommend. Um, this way, your savings actually are not losing value over time. And then we have the everyday spending categories. These are just things that you're going to be pulling from every month to just live. So, for example, obviously rent for me is a big one, groceries. I have a category for treating myself, going to the cinema, going for dinners with my friends, um, um, buying myself, I don't know, something nice. Then I have also a category for giving or tithing. So I don't know if many of you are familiar with the idea of tithing. It is originally, I think, a Catholic Church concept, but it's basically something that you give back because to the people who don't have as much as you, basically. And I really recommend that you, even if you don't earn a lot, that you get into the habit of giving back. Because basically, I believe that money ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. Sometimes you have some, sometimes you will have less, and it's like a river. And you really need to just, be as agile as the river. And the more you will get confident in using the system, the more you will be agile to be more resilient to crises. Because basically, this whole thing, is for us to be able to live a good life. And, well, life happens. Life happens. We will always have crises. We will always have some times where we're struggling or something has happened and we need to, pay something really expensive or something like that. So this system allows you to be okay in a time of crisis. And I do believe that by tithing, so giving a little bit back, even if you don't earn a lot, actually teaches you that even if you don't have a lot, you might still have a little bit more than your neighbor, or you might still have a little bit more than someone else. And so I believe that it's very important to not be so attached to your money, okay? So like, yeah, money comes in and it goes, but don't be like holding on to it for dear life, because I feel like this just creates a bad association with it. And it's kind of like, if you're attached to it like that and then it goes away, then you feel really distraught. Whereas if you go into the habit of like, okay, it comes and then I give some away, it's a much more relaxed feeling. And honestly, you will then remove this like very emotional relationship that we might have towards money sometimes. Then I have a category for health. Any health, expenses that I might incur, like for my health insurance, for example, or if I go to the pharmacy and get some nice vitamins or something like that, then I have a budget for that. I have a category for learning or CPD or anything like that that I like to do. For example, I'm always learning, like I take some piano lessons, I'm always learning a new language, so I like to use that money for those classes. Definitely one category for random expenses because things always come up. And then I have two more for dry months or sick pay. As you know, in our business, sometimes we will have months where you earn a lot and some months where you don't earn a lot at all. And so, yeah, it really depends on, well, the work that we have, but also when our clients actually pay us, when we actually invoice. So in order to level that out, I like to give a bit of money every month into this category so that, for example, the next time I have a really, really bad month, then I can actually pay myself a decent salary and continue um, contributing to this system, basically. And also, I just added one for holiday pay. So now that my system is a bit more robust, I'm able to put a little bit of money aside every month so that when I'm actually going on holiday, I can pay myself. Well, first of all, I can enjoy the holiday, but also I can pay myself while I'm on holiday, which is amazing. In this slide, you will see now my percentages. So I'll let you take a quick look. Maybe if you want to take a picture, although I'm super happy to share my slides with you after, so don't hesitate to ask me. So yeah, this is how I split up my own spending. So as you see, like the dry months and the holiday pay, I put like a set amount every month. And then, maybe it would be good for you to start with, less categories to start with. Maybe, just like rent, groceries, and something to treat yourself and health. Maybe this is your priority right now. And you need to get acquainted with the system as well. And this takes me about 2 hours maximum, 1 hour to 2 hours at the end of the month or at the beginning of the next month. So let's say now, beginning of April, I put in my calendar profit first, maybe on the 1st or 2nd of April, and then I'm going to pay myself. So what I do is I look at the money that I've been paid by my clients in the past month. So if I do this at the beginning of April, that would be from the 1st of March to the 31st of March. So I look at it and then I will put it into a spreadsheet and then I will divide it into the percentages that I've decided. So you do need to, see and see how it works for you, see if you have enough, for each category. And this will take a lot of trial and error. My percentages were not like that all the time. And there are also times in life where your priorities will change. So for example, if my rent is going to become a bit more expensive, because I'm moving or because of something, then I will raise that percentage and then lower another one. I hope it makes sense. Feel free to write down your questions and I will answer them after. Some important considerations now about this system is that it is quite easy because you might have access to these little pockets or boxes where you're going to be putting money, for your health and for the cinema and all of that. And it is sometimes quite tempting to steal from yourself. And I would really recommend you not to steal from yourself. But the biggest consideration here is not to take from the tax accounts. This is, as I said, not your money anymore, it's the government's money. Therefore, leave it there and just don't take it. And it's the same, like for sometimes it happened to me where I was lacking a bit of money for my rent, so I took from, the treat myself group box and then I put it back in rent. This might happen, if it happens, it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, you are doing just, you're the only one managing this, and it is for your own benefits. But for example, if you take a lump sum, let's say from your learning box, in order if for another expense, then write it down, and then as soon as you can put it back, just put it back there. So as I said, you'll be going to create you'll be going to you'll be creating this system according to your own needs, your own goals. So first of all, you need to get clear on what your goals actually are, and this can really be started with just the minimum, like really any amount, because we're working with percentages. So, give it a try, practice, don't be scared to fail. It's completely okay. And yeah, don't think that any failure is really a failure. A failure is actually just a stepping stone to your success. And yes, practice giving away some of your money as well. So on the previous slide, yes, I was giving 5% for tithing. So for tithing, I, for example, will give 5% of my earnings to a charity, or maybe I will save it, to give some people presents if I have a lot of birthdays coming up. I also would like to mention that freedom is actually a really, really amazing privilege. The fact that we are able to do that we are able to manage our own money, manage our own accounts, the fact that we are able to set our own prices to our clients is a huge privilege. So, let's, it's very clear that we need to recognize that it is a privilege and that we need to take good care of it. It's important. And yes, respect your money. Don't do anything too reckless. If you are a little bit interested in investing, then try to remember that every penny that you've earned is actually something that you've worked so hard for. And so, keep that in mind when you want to gamble a little bit. So for me, why it worked, it removed that emotional element to money, as I mentioned, because it's something that can make you like, grip all your money and have just some negative thoughts about it. It freed up a lot of my mental space. So I was able to be like, okay, actually, I'm not going to work for peanuts because I actually have a strong system. So I don't need to be going after clients who don't respect my work or my terms. So it made me feel more secure. And the fact that you have smaller groups of money and that you don't have all your money in one account actually makes you spend less because you see less of it. You're like, okay, like I only have 100 euros for the rest of the month for my groceries. So, maybe we're going to be eating pasta every day. But that's just it's just part of life. And I think that it teaches you a lot to be like, okay, this is the only budget I have for this particular category. And honestly, this has probably saved me a lot because I was so much more relaxed. I was able to get better clients and increase my rates consistently and work with better people in general, and ditch all the people and the agencies that didn't pay good enough rates. And the results, I think, of the system also because it built my confidence. Even now, talking to you about it and just as a professional. Actually, my turnover tripled, and so far it's only been growing. So it was definitely a byproduct of the system, and I really, really hope from the bottom of my heart that I can extend that to you as well. The last minute wisdom, I would like to say that you do need to feel like this will add some safety to you, and you do need that in order to be happy and therefore successful. Maybe it's a good idea to get some support, get a friend or a colleague or a business coach to help you practice, and also to know where you're going. What are your goals? What is your strategy? Sit down with yourself and be honest with yourself in that regard. And also, like don't feel like, oh, I'm in a market where I don't earn good rates and it's not possible to reach higher. It's always possible to reach higher. So, thinking that you're, a victim of your situation is not going to help you. Honestly, it's yes, it's definitely like a sort of like victim mindset, and I encourage you to believe that everything is possible if you set your mind to it, and I really encourage you to do that. So yeah, it will be time to sit down and creating your strategy. Actually, if during the Q&A you can tell me if there's one thing that you will implement after this webinar, if there's one thing that you really, what's your takeaway from this webinar, and what will be your starting points? What will you start doing? I'm really eager to see your changes and your efforts and your results. So don't hesitate to share all of that in the chat if you like, or even when we start the Q&A, you can turn on your mic and then let me know. So that's it for me. Happy to answer any questions. In here, you have my email. You can definitely reach out. And before I finish, I'd love to share with you my highly recommended reading list with, well, Profit First, the book we talked a lot about, and a lot of really, really good books that helped me see money in a much more positive way. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for being here, for listening to me, and I hope everything was clear. And now we can have a discussion about it. So you're welcome to turn on your mics and your videos, and we can have a chat. I will now stop the sharing.
Thank you very much, Luna. It's been really very, very, very interesting. And something came to my mind, something I read in Gary Smith's book. The client is not a boss. And I think that's also one of the mindsets we have. For example, I'm now negotiating to translate a book. And yeah, but this is a client, a publisher who never hired translators. So there are many things that I'm teaching him. And the first thing I'm teaching is that he's going to pay me 50% in advance, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, I don't really have problems with my relationship with money, fortunately, but I do know that 99.9% of translators and interpreters do, which is why I was so happy about this presentation.
Yeah, amazing.
So please, everybody, feel free to unmute yourself. Let's have a dynamic exchange. You don't need to type. Just raise your hand or share your comments, your questions with Luna and the rest of us, please.
And yeah, share if you want, one thing that you want to implement after this webinar, one key takeaway, anything like that. Carol says, Scarcity Man said, yeah, the pocket system is something I will certainly implement. Other than that, there are the main pitfalls to look out for financially for freelancers, especially with low, medium income. You mean, well, I mean, the main pitfall would be to not fall for people who don't pay you good rates. I think like for agencies who will, go into your inbox and maybe you are at a time where you don't have enough work and then you tell yourself, yes, okay, I'm going to accept this rate just this time. And all of that is actually damaging for the profession. I don't want to make you feel bad if, you have to do that. I definitely also had to do that maybe at first because I didn't know better. But I believe that there's always something better that will show up. So one of the biggest pitfalls for me would be to fall in this trap where you are, you're stressing out, you're being, you feel discouraged, and then you're going to accept really bad working conditions. So I would say, make sure that you don't fall for that. But yeah, if you have any other like, if you want to make your question, if you want to precise your question in any way, or if
So
you need any,
that's
yeah.
what I meant. Yeah, it's sometimes scary to wait for better rates or better offers, and
That's true, but
makes
also
me
like
to think.
if there's an email that comes through your inbox, you know, you always you can always negotiate. Even if it feels like it's an agency and their rates are set,
Right?
you'll be
Yeah.
like, okay, but actually I have this and this, you know, you can be like, in order to wow them, you can be like, I actually have a portfolio of similar projects that I've done. Therefore, my rate is this. Would you accept? And there's always a way to negotiate, even if it's agencies. And I was actually doing that for a lot at the beginning of my career, even with agencies that people usually think that they don't pay well. But to me, you know, they paid me well because I was negotiating.
So it
So
works.
yes,
It
yes,
can
it works.
work. Yeah.
And even if, you know, you don't get like as much as you want, then maybe you'll just manage to reach it just a little bit, or to raise it just a little bit. And it's always better to get that right.
Getting the
Thank you, Carol.
confidence to do that.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. I see so many people here. It's great. Thank you
Yeah.
all for being here. Yeah, it's amazing. Any other questions? I'm super happy to answer anything. Don't be scared. I'm not going to bite, promise.
Just a comment. Thank you very much, Luna. It was a really insightful presentation. And another book I would recommend is Happy Money by Ken Honda.
Aha, perfect. Writing it down. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Karina.
And
Any
also, I
questions
would
from
like,
the students?
not a question, but I would like to thank you, Luna, for sharing this valuable information with us. And you know, this is an age of consumption. People are crazily spending their monies on very unnecessary things nowadays. There is like spending spree. So the ideas of saving and um, managing your money in items, separate items, is a very good idea. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we'll be making use of your recommendations. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Let me know how it goes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you, Luke.
Yes. Yes, Leona, thank you so much. I'm happy that at least had another opportunity to listen to you after that
Thank you.
presentation in Bursa last year. It
Yes.
was very interesting.
Thank you so much.
I'm inspired by the fact that you are able to follow this formula that you have for managing your finances. I don't know how you are able to do that because most of us do not have that discipline. You know, we are not able to record everything and discipline ourselves, right, to spend money the way you do it, which is impressive. And I think that as freelancers, that is something that we should adopt, that we should be able
Mm.
to, because the way we receive contracts, you know, and receive payments, sometimes we are not able to decide that we will spend 5% on A and 10% on B, but you are able to do that. And I think it is impressive. Thank you very much.
You're very
I will
welcome.
try to discipline myself and maybe come to you for more tutorials later. Thank you.
Sure. But I feel like it's not really about discipline because you are putting it aside in a different place. So it actually it's really for, I feel like it's really for people who actually don't have discipline because you are not, you know, it's not every spending. I'm like, okay, 5% is for this, 5% is for that. I already have, you know, in the separate accounts, you know, only the money that I have for groceries. So, you know, I don't see more. So it's already split up. That's the power of the system. So even if you don't have that discipline, it's just you only have that amount. So your psychology works this way, you know, you're like, okay, I cannot spend more. And I think that for some people who might not have like a bank that allows you to have like a smaller accounts like this, if it works better in your particular market, you can also do that in cash. So let's say at the beginning of the month, you do your little calculation, and let's say you have 300 euros for your groceries, you take them out of your account and you put it in an envelope at home, and you just use that to go to the supermarket, for example. So there are different ways where you can also deal with that.
Okay,
didn't
thank you
know
very
they-
much.
Oh,
Sorry, Gary.
no,
Sorry.
fine, Luke.
Now, our students are also attending this program, and they are requesting that you share the slides. Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. Yes, yes. I will send them to Aurora, and then she will share it with you for sure.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, hi. I didn't know that was in Revolut. I also use Revolut. I didn't know you could form your own one, so I'll create one for groceries and so on. But I was wondering, this seems to be based on a certain income per month. But most translators, at least freelance translators, have our income going up and down a bit like a roller coaster. Is there some specific way you would manage that to get different
Yes.
percentages or?
The percentages stay the same. That's the thing,
Mm.
because sometimes you will earn. So I was taking this as an example. I was taking 2,000 euros. Maybe 1 month I will earn 1,000, and then 1 month I will earn 3,000. Okay, maybe the month that I earn 1,000, I will apply the same percentages. And if, for example, you know, like I don't have enough for rent, let's say, like I will, you know, have to make some small adjustments. Let's say if I don't earn a lot. But what will happen is that the first few months you will have these disparities, you know, like, oh my God, this month I didn't earn so much, so I don't have enough for groceries. But the more you keep going with the system, the more it will even out. And what will happen is that you still have money from the last month, you know, from the groceries, because last month you earned, you know, a better rate. And so it takes time actually to build a little bit of money in all of these little pockets, so that you can what's the word, not temper, but like, you know, when you just, you know, yeah, it levels out basically.
Okay.
So
By the way,
you have to keep going at the beginning. Just, you know,
Thanks.
stay
No,
strong.
I didn't know them. I mean, talking specifically about Revolut, I don't know if I'm going into too much detail, but I usually pay, like a lot of people in Western Europe now, I think we pay with our phone. Is there a way you can simply, when you pay, for example, in the supermarket for groceries, you can press and say, this is coming out of my grocery account?
This would
I
be
don't know.
my dream.
I think that
So
would be a really
far,
good idea, that when you pay for something, you could
yes, I
take
agree.
it out of a specific little group. That would be great. Maybe there is a way. Just
Maybe there is a way,
Yeah.
and maybe definitely it will come soon. That would be
Yeah.
the dream. That would be much
Yeah,
much
that would
easier.
really help organize it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, Luna. Thank you so very much. I'm Stephen, a student
Stephen.
of Dr. Luke. Okay, so thank you very much for this very useful nuggets on how to manage finances and all of that. You know, looking at your presentation, actually your list of you know, how to appropriate funds to everything. I was just looking through it. I was just telling myself that, hey, what we applicants are used to is giving, tithing, and then probably miscellaneous spendings.
Yeah.
You know, we are not basically used to, you know, kind of like trying to always secure our funds and then have a percentage on what to spend and what not to spend. And then when we come to the groceries, we always go to shopping malls and overspend. So I'm very, very happy because this is very useful to us, and then we'll try as much as possible to manage it as such. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's important to have a look also before, you know, you start the system and be like, am I spending money on things that I really shouldn't be? You know, do I have subscriptions to things I don't use? And definitely if I tend to go to the mall and overspend, then this will give me, you know, a way to make sure this doesn't happen, because there's only so much you can spend in that particular pocket. I hope it will be helpful. Yes. I'm reading in the chat, valuable information. To work out retirement funds. Yes, actually, it's missing from my presentation. I will add it, but my category on investing and future fund is also for retirement. So now at the moment I'm trying to work out a way to maybe invest my money into maybe stocks and shares, because I feel like otherwise we're just not going to be able to have much, because inflation is really strong at the moment. So yes, I'm at the moment working out a strategy for that, but basically I put money aside as well in that fund, and then I'm going to try to invest it. So my retirement will be the same as my investing account, if that makes sense. And thank you for the nice comments. Yes, you can always reach out to me. It's my pleasure to help, so don't hesitate.
Karina, could you please write the name of the book you were suggesting? I couldn't take it down.
I think it was
Happy Money.
I like it. Happy translator.
Ken Honda. Very good.
Thank
will write. I wrote it down too.
Well, seems to be all for now.
Looks like it is. 5 minutes past the hour.
Well, thank you so very much. I think that the mere fact of talking about money is important. It already shakes your mind. The mindfulness thing you mentioned, that you do those exercises. And I think it's because of that, it's easy for you to just to talk about money. Like you said, we shouldn't have emotional feelings about money. That's perfect. That's perfect. I'm very romantic, but when I read poetry, for my translation grades, I'm not romantic at all.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And we might have a episode 2, Luna. Maybe in a couple of months we can gather again and see if we've been able to improve and share with you, or continue learning from you, if you agree, if you all agree.
Wonderful.
Would you like to please open your camera so that we can take a picture? A universal selfie.
Is anyone turning on there?
Okay, those of you who can, if you're in pajamas or in the office, don't worry.
They're shy. They're very shy.
Or shy, of course, of course.
Everyone is shy.
I've shared, Aurora, I've shared the link to the book.
Oh yeah, thank you, Karina.
I'm buying it this afternoon.
I see some faces. Nice.
Hey, look. It's so important. Whatever we do affects the collective, the community. The butterfly effect is so true in the case of professions. That I never get tired of repeating the same, because it's so true. Well, thank you so very much. So very much, and have a great weekend. And be careful with the red moon. You know that Luna means moon in Spanish. So it's very good to have Luna.
Yes.
So our
It's a full moon tonight, and the blood moon. Actually, it was this morning, I think. So happy full moon, everybody.
It's said to be good for a new beginning. So I hope it will really mean a good beginning for us as professionals and as human beings also. Have a great weekend.
Right. Ciao.
Thank you, Luna.
Bye bye, everyone. Thank you
very
all.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye.